Hey, what's up everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so the score was 122-112. And, well, that game was awesome. The Lakers beat the Toronto Raptors at home. And it was a very fun matchup. Very strange in nature, in terms of just the type of scoring droughts that you would see. Like in the third quarter, for example, we had a 39-point quarter in the second quarter and then came back, and I think it was like a 15-point quarter. We started the quarter 1 for 11 and didn't hit our first field goal till like the 6-minute mark. It was a really, really bad stretch. I don't really know how to articulate what it is that I think I saw. I'm trying to frame it in the right way, but I guess Darvin Ham chose the right bench, but the wrong starters, I guess is what I'll say. That's the best way to look at it. He did a fantastic job making sure that his second unit was dynamite. And the choices that we had with the starting unit got us off to a slow start, and they continued to pretty much play poorly for their standards throughout the game. So what you see in the stats is significant differences in the plus minuses. You see the bench players having like plus 25, plus 30 plus minuses, and then you see the starters having minus 17, minus 18 plus minuses. That's exactly what you see. So, like, trying to articulate what it is that I'm looking at, trying not to be so negative and so, like, looking at it from just a one-sided way, you essentially just want to say that we had a fantastic job using our second unit to carry the load and take care of us. And you just got to give credit to guys who just really stabilized things after a slow start. You know, we decided to go with Malik Beasley, and we had another one of those Malik Beasley nights where he goes 1 for 6, gets you 4 rebounds. I tell you, the boy gonna get you 4 rebounds. And that's pretty much it. A couple turnovers, and you walk away feeling that the 21 minutes that he had on the floor were wasted. Especially when you consider that Lonnie Walker didn't play. And we were going against a team that can't guard the fast break, and he's one of the best slashing players we got. So that right there was frustrating to me, just from a strategic standpoint. Then we had a situation where you got to give the Toronto Raptors all the credit in the world. They really had a fantastic defensive game plan. Nick Nurse, NBA championship coach, just really decided that he was not going to allow Anthony Davis to do what it is that Anthony Davis does. All that stuff about scoring 35 and 22, they were not going to do it. They weren't doing it. They were going to make other people beat them tonight. And so what they did is they swarmed him. And as a result, we ended up turning the ball over 21 times because we could not seem to understand that trying to force him the ball was a bad way to go. Not to mention that they were picking our pocket left and right, because every time we would put ball handlers on the floor that couldn't really dribble, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and those guys, Fred VanVleet, were pressing them like crazy. So what you had was Toronto's defense dictating a lot of what you saw out there. But they also had a player on their team that could not get right to save his life. Gary Trent Jr. went 0 for 9, I believe it was. Just he kind of balanced things out as it pertains to, we had a Malik Beasley that couldn't do nothing right. They had him over there that couldn't do nothing right. So that kind of balanced, I think, what you saw out there in terms of teams kind of just struggling, I guess, in some ways. But then you have the OG Anunoby factor. This dude came in and could not miss a shot through, I'd say through maybe 3 quarters. He was 11 for 11 at one point or something ridiculous. He looked like he was playing like Kobe out there. He had shot a high arc over Anthony Davis and someone else as well. He had scored a layup over Anthony Davis in that same flurry. I mean, it was a stretch of basketball that just looked like he was going to try to turn into Kobe. He looked like he was trying to turn into Kobe. So somehow we were able to win this game despite having some wildly strange lead changes. We went down by 15. We went up by 12. It was just a very, very interesting game in that way. Scotty Barnes, you got to give young fella credit. I think he had like 32 points, 7 assists, several rebounds. Just fantastic. As I said, OG Anunoby had an amazing game. I think he also had like 4 or 5 steals attached to his 31 points. You know, it was a really, really special game out there for those two. and I'm glad we were able to win the game in spite of those big-time performances. You know, at the end of the day, you want to give credit to our guys as well. Dennis Schroeder coming off the bench. I believe I don't remember the stats exactly, but I think he had like 26 points, 7 assists or something like that. Don't quote me. The stats are all over the place, but the plus minus was just absolutely astonishing. He was like a plus 32 plus minus. It was crazy. Even though he had, I think it was several turnovers. So when you consider just the impact, the overall impact that he had, hitting big 3-point shots, I think he was 3 of 6 from behind the arc. It seemed like every time we needed to finish off a play, he was in position to hit a big 3. You know, we would work the ball around. The defense would seal us off all the way to him, and the only shot we had in those instances was for him to hit the shot, and he knocked it down. So I just really was impressed with Dennis's performance. D'Angelo Russell's the star of the show tonight. He just carried the load in some ferocious ways. 5 3-point shots hit tonight, even though he had a little bit of a slow start, several turnovers for him as well. But you know, it was his talent that just was the difference tonight. It was simply the difference. I think we're probably still playing basketball if he wasn't on the floor overtimes ahead, because it really just came down to him just breaking up momentum, just busting up the entire game by hitting a bunch of set 3-point shots in rhythm. I mean, it was just one after another, and he was making plays for others in situations where we couldn't get Anthony the ball. He was able to find him, you know, just picking them apart, mid-range, all of that. He was offsetting the OG Anunoby factor, essentially. So it was a lot of extreme highs and lows in this game. You got to give credit to Austin Reeves as well, who came in phenomenally well, making plays, rebounding the ball, hitting his free throw. The team was 19 for 19 from the free throw line tonight. Hit all their foul shots. So you got to give credit. I thought we shot particularly well from the field as well. I think we were above 50%, I think we were, and above 40 from behind the arc. So all of that helps you survive a game where you turn the ball over 21 times. You have to do all of those things the way that we did in order to win. And then when you consider the shots that D'Lo hit and the time that he hit them, coupled with Schroeder's 3-point shots and the way that he hit them, and then I look over at Rui Hachimura and the 7 and 9 that he gave us in I think it was more so in the second quarter when we were trying to really run the score up. Rui Hachimura had the big to do with that, with his play, and I just thought that you know, going to him was big. You know, Wenyen Gabriel, 3 blocks. He had a big game defensively tonight. Definitely held down the fort, as well as Anthony Davis, who I believe walked out of there with 4 blocks. And that's the thing, you know, Anthony Davis didn't have a big night tonight. Obviously, they were trying to shut him down, but he found a way to contribute in little areas. You know, got a couple of points. I think he had like 8 points or something like that. Maybe he had about 9 boards. Then you look at like 4 assists, and then you look at the 4 blocks. So you can clearly see he was very much involved. His plus minus wasn't great tonight. He was definitely not the star of the show, but you definitely don't win without his defensive you know, ability, and most importantly, all the defense was focused on him. So needless to say, if he wasn't on the floor for a lot of that, then they could turn their attention to some of the players who were actually killing him. So I think that helped. They were just kind of overplaying him and did a good job on him. But when you force other people to beat you, what you have to understand is we got those people. We got them. And so that's what it really comes down to. I thought we took advantage of them. You know, I thought we really took advantage of them, even though we leaned on, you know, our guy, you know, Malik Beasley, in ways that I just think are toxic for our roster. And I tell you, the score reflected that. When he was on the floor in the way that I always complain about, the score was close. We started going down. As soon as we put Austin Reeves in the game, just like I said, the score started going up. We started making plays, and everything started to stabilize. We just got to know who can help us and who cannot. I like Malik Beasley as much as the next guy, but if the shot ain't falling, we have too many productive guards to even consider sitting on or allowing him to play any longer than necessary. It don't make no sense. The guys that we have are just simply too talented. You know, Lonnie Walker didn't play tonight. Max Christie didn't play tonight. I don't need Malik Beasley to even play over those guys in situations where he's shooting this bad. Nah, he don't even need to play. You know, so that's what it really comes down to for me. I like that we won, but there were things that didn't have to happen. You know, the reason why we scored so little in that third quarter was because he was leaning on Malik. And a lot of what went wrong was just a bunch of mismatches left and right with the rotation that he put on the floor, allowing Scotty Barnes to have mismatches to shoot over more than half of the time. I think that's one of the reasons why Scotty scored so much, is because he was shooting over people half his size pretty much all night long. So there were some schematic things down there that I don't know if Darvin could have subbed out of based on how we rotate. But we were able to make up for it with some phenomenal shooting. And ultimately, guys just masked the mistakes. I tell you, man, our team is talented. That's what we're seeing. The players that we have on the floor just overrode all things down there. OG Anunoby's fantastic play, the size mismatches that they provided us, the good defense that they were pressing against our guards, all of that stuff was just masked by the fact that we were simply too good for any of it. And that's what it really came down to. They were fighting for their playoff lives, playing the best they could with guys on the floor that couldn't miss and still couldn't beat us. You know, and that's the truth. I'm not going to tell you that I think Gary Trent's going to play like that most nights. He's definitely not. You know, this is the worst game of his life, if you ask me. And there are games where he's going to go off for the opposite of that. He can go for 50. So I wouldn't say that this is a reflection of who they are. But I thought they played very well tonight. And I just thought we rode past them with ease because, quite honestly, we were just too talented for them tonight. D'Lo was just a little too good for them tonight. You know, as good as Fred was able to kind of get involved defensively, even though his shot wasn't really falling, he was able to get some assists off. You know, Pascal Siakam, he wasn't really scoring like that tonight, but he did have those other players in his lineup making up for it. But, you know, when everybody isn't clicking against this Los Angeles Lakers team, you're going to find that you're probably going to have trouble against us. You're going to need a whole team to beat us, especially when we're playing defense. And what I saw tonight was a team intent on playing defense themselves. Just like Toronto was pressing us, we were pressing them. Just like we were turning the ball over, we were forcing them as well. And I like how we did things out there. Dennis Schroeder particularly, you know, getting some steals out there. You know, I want to give credit to Troy Brown, who even though he didn't play as many minutes tonight, he also got some steals out there, rebounded the ball pretty well with the minutes given. So this was a total team effort. Total team effort. When you look at D'Angelo Russell, the stats that he put up tonight, I wish I remember what they were, but those 5 threes, I think he had about maybe 8 assists or something like that. He's just phenomenal, man. You almost forget how talented he is when he's sitting out with these injuries, these you know, the rolled ankle. You almost forget exactly how much of an impact he can make, especially when he's as confident as he's shooting right here. And I just love what I saw from him. As I was saying before he went down with the injury, he is a continuity creator. This version of him is a talkative person who's communicating with others, and he's bringing about an energy out of people that I ain't seen certain energy out of. Like AD, for example. He's chatting with AD. It's a different vibe when AD's talking to him. It's like, okay, he's engaging with him because he knows it's a talented player that's providing him some encouragement. You can see it. Guys are rubbing off well in that way. Austin Reeves is finding good chemistry with a guy like D'Angelo Russell. You can see how Austin's lighting up and slapping hands. It's like it's a different vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah, these are guys that are a little younger. You know, the guys that they don't have to necessarily straighten up and fly right around. You know, when you're dealing with LeBron James, it's a different vibe. Like, you know, that's the king there. You know, he's not one of the boys at the end of the day. But with D'Lo, it's a bit different, and he's so very talented. And the things that he's talented at provide such a very unique dynamic to where we're beating teams in ways that were never even possible earlier in the season. You know, some of those shots D'Lo hit tonight, there's no way anybody we wanted on our roster taking those shots that he took tonight. You know, a spot up off the dribble, you know, just basically early in the shot clock, 3-point shots from 30 feet away. I mean, the shot he hit, I think it was around the 4-minute mark. You know, he had just found a way to just create a lot of space from basically Dame distance and took that shot with ease, and then took probably about 3 or 4 more of them for just that same measure. I think he had maybe 16 or more points in the fourth quarter. Ice in his veins. I cannot stress it enough, ice in his veins. And when you got Dennis Schroeder hitting shots the same way and running with you the same way, and you look at Austin Reeves and he's also got it going in that same fashion, we were too much. Way too much for a Toronto team that's just not as good as they normally are this season. You know, you got to give credit to a guy like Jakob Poeltl. I thought he played a pretty good game. Did some things on both sides of the floor, but he had his hands full with AD. AD did a fantastic job on him down the stretch. kind of neutralize what he was trying to accomplish. So, you know, you got to understand now that as we go forward, this Laker team continues to get healthier. When we get closer to LeBron James being able to come back, it's going to be on us to continue to respect the fact that we are thin at the center position. All the good things that we're doing, we're contenders, yes, all of this is wonderful, but the way that we stay great or get great is to stay sharp. And I think the best way for us to kind of improve is to make sure that we hire ourselves a center so we can give ourselves a bit more cushion with that position, because at the end of the day, AD's health is not to be relied upon. Vanderbilt is an energy player, which means he's going to be coming down on people's ankles, and he's already dealing with his foot, already dealing with a knee. I saw him hobbling out there in the second quarter a little bit too. I thought he played very well, busted up some big plays, especially one down the stretch where I thought, once again, he showed us that same old scenario where you think you're playing good defense and all of a sudden the balls end up in your hands. Halfway through the defensive possession, everything's going smooth, and all of a sudden you just have the ball. He had another one of those tonight in the fourth quarter, and you got to love when that happens. Save the ball for someone else underneath our basket. Underneath their basket, and just ultimately got the steal there. So, you know, you don't want to rely upon him too much, but you definitely know you're going to need him in the playoffs, so to keep him fresh. So these are the type of things I'm thinking about. It's important that we get ourselves a center with Bamba being out for 4 weeks. It's obvious that we can definitely do a lot of damage, especially with Wenyen Gabriel blocking shots. But at the end of the day, you're asking him to stay healthy. You're asking AD to stay healthy. You're asking Vanderbilt to stay healthy, and that's fine. I like those guys in that way for the most part. But the problem is they're going to need some backups. You know what I mean? So I think we're running thin. After that, we're going to be looking at Rui Hachimura to play the 5. You don't want to play around like that. So that's one thing I want our team to look at and get done. But this is a fantastic night. You know, we are going to be celebrating this one because of how we won it. You know, just an emphatic win. And as I said, there's no way, 0% chance we win this particular basketball game before the trade. It doesn't happen. It does not happen. There's too many size mismatches. OG Anunoby was playing entirely too well, and there's no way we hit those shots that D'Lo hit. There's absolutely no way we hit those shots. Those are clanks. You remember when we had Russell Westbrook taking those shots, Bron trying to take those shots where he shoot them without putting them off, not having somebody pass him the rock, trying to shoot them off the dribble. Stuff doesn't work with that old team. Kendrick Nunn trying to take those shots, Patrick Beverly trying to attempt certain shots. We just would not have won the game, man. And so that's why I'm so very happy. Got to give Rob Pelinka his credit. Once again, I'd say we can credit him with as much of this victory as anybody else for putting together a roster that looks as good as this one does, that is constructed as well to withstand injury as this one has been able to. And just ultimately getting us the shooting necessary to make us a viable modern team. Shooting and length, things that we just did not have much of over the last 16 to 18 months. I mean, honestly, we finally got ourselves some young talent, finally got ourselves some length, finally got ourselves some shooting, and now we have an opportunity to showcase the stars that we have on our team properly. You know, Anthony Davis didn't have a great game tonight offensively at all. Barely scored. Had 5 points through 3 quarters, basically. And our team still dominated. You know, we still had plenty of points. You know, LeBron James wasn't on the floor. Didn't matter. Still fantastic. And that's what it's really about, man. Having a full team effort, utilizing everybody, finding minutes for guys, and keeping them fresh so that they can stay healthy and stay ready for when you need them, which is whenever, honestly, whenever. And so I think it's time to be honest about our starting lineup. I think this game is basically giving us that data. Our starting lineup, it needs to be shuffled a little bit. The Malik Beasley space gathering gravity conversation, it's not holding as much weight right now when D'Lo's back in the lineup. Because at the end of the day, he can shoot like that. So I don't need Malik Beasley to be missing shots like that. You know, with Dennis Schroeder, even though I think he's shot the ball just as well as anybody tonight, you tend to not look at him as a three-point shooter, so it's most important to keep Beasley down there for that aggression in regards to the defense going towards him. But if you got D'Lo in the starting lineup, you're doubling down on that shooting unless one of them's cold. In that case, what you're doubling down on is potentially a lack of defense. And in Beasley's case tonight, a lack of ball handling. Because every time he put the ball on the ground, they were jumping on the ground to get it from him. And it happened more than once. And for me, I think he's a pretty decent ball handler, but I had already been warned of that. I had already heard of someone speak of the fact that his ball handling could tend to be like that. And if you pressure him enough, just like a couple other guys on our team, you're going to take the ball from him. And so that was Nick Nurse's point of view tonight. That was emphasis, rather. And they executed it pretty well. You know, they really did. If they just had a decent night out of Gary Trent Jr., I think this game goes a lot differently for them. But we're glad it didn't. You know, we won by 10. He gave them nothing, simply put. So I'm happy about this win, man. This is excellent. This is how you want to handle home wins against Eastern Conference teams that are in the play-in tournament. Because at the end of the day, we are not of our record. Even though we shared a record with this team to start this game, we know that we're a lot better than them. And so that's what it really came down to. It wasn't no conversation to be had. We're a home team that's fighting for our playoff lives, and we got championships on our mind. You know, with all due respect to everybody who says we need to be fighting to play into the play-in tournament, I'm looking past the play-in tournament. With the type of roster we have and the way we've been able to withstand injury and looking at some of these teams that we got left, I don't see too many of them that should be able to beat us if we play properly. And I don't think we're going to see too much more better defense than we saw tonight, to be honest with you. This is some of the best defense I've seen all season in regards to pressuring us and just ultimately putting us in positions that were very uncomfortable all night long. And we still found a way to not only win that game, but win it comfortably. And I think it had a lot to do with just pure talent, just the actual talent of a guy like D'Angelo Russell busting this game completely up. And so that's the difference, man. That's the difference. When you got a highly gifted dude down there that can shoot the ball without really defenses having any control over what he does, it makes life so much easier for you. I see how it must be for guys who watch Portland and guys who watch Golden State with those type of shooters. It makes life easy when they can hit them type of shots from 50 feet away, 40 feet away, and the defense does, can't do nothing about it. That's what you saw tonight. That is exactly what you saw tonight. Him pick them apart with his talent. So the game ball is going there. That's where the game ball is going. Even though OG Anunoby had a fantastic night, Scotty Barnes played like a superstar tonight. Dennis Schroeder, again, his stats tell you that he was phenomenal. And Austin Reeves in the impact, Rui Hachimura impact, AD, everybody contributed greatly to this win. But for me, even though we got off to a slow start, and I thought a big part of our slow start was us trying to incorporate him in, at the end of the day, D'Angelo Russell was the difference, man. Ice in his veins. He was the star of the night. Game ball goes there. So that's my thought, man. I'm super happy as a Laker fan. I'm happy that we're 33-34. It's tied for the 8th seed, I believe, right now, since Minnesota did lose a game to the Brooklyn Nets by 1. Portland also lost a game by 1 at the buzzer, believe it or not. Joel hit a buzzer and said Kobe. So we definitely want to salute Kobe. The Kobe minute will be coming up in about 30 seconds. But it's one of those situations where you just understand that the Western Conference helped you tonight. And it's been helping us all week. And various little things that have just been parting the Red Sea for us to snatch up and take it from everybody. And that's exactly what I think this team is capable of. We are capable of beating all the teams left in the league today. If we can get LeBron James back on his floor, respect the size, center position, and go get us a center, and continue to try to stay as healthy as humanly possible, we have the talent and the construction to compete with the rest of the league right now. And I don't think there's a team out there that we legitimately cannot give a very good 7-game series. I don't think there is one. And so that's what I'm hopeful we'll see. The Lakers find a way to continue to win games and take our foot off the gas. I thought that we had opportunities tonight where we were up by 8 with maybe 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, where I thought maybe we could take our foot off the gas. We did not. We kept pushing. We kept pushing forward, and guys kept hitting shots, and guys kept playing defense and continued to show me the killer instinct that closed this game out. And that's what I'm looking to see in regards to this season for the rest of these 16 games or whatever it is. We're in a space where we could celebrate. It's 8 minutes to go, so to speak, and we're up by 8, so to speak. But at the end of the day, if we don't keep playing, if we don't keep winning, we won't win this game. We won't get to the playoffs. And so that's what it's about. This is the moment where you can choose to either be proud of yourself and forget there's still work to do, or proud of yourself and getting rest because there's more work to do. It's one or the other. It's about the mindset. And so I'm hopeful the Lakers will show us that they're serious about trying to win, that they have all the confidence in the world, and that they believe this, that there is nobody out there that wants to face them in a 7-game series. I think all teams in the Western Conference would rather avoid us at this point. So that's where we're at, man. That is who we are. The Los Angeles Lakers are as good a team as anyone when they play like they played tonight. They withstood custom-made defense for their star player, and it worked. And they still won by more than 10, or won by 10. You know, they had situations where they were cold, couldn't hit a shot. 1 for 11. And still found a way to follow that quarter up with another 30-point quarter just like the first two. This is not a normal basketball team you're seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the type of intangibles that you want to see in a killer instinct type team. This is what you want to see. The only thing that I wonder about is all of this freedom that everybody's feeling, all of the just the jovial energy that everybody has from the team being constructed this way. When Bron gets back, can they feel that way? Or will it kind of shape back to we must win for Bron, and therefore it's about him and not necessarily about we? Because right now I see a full team happy to play with one another, excited about what they're doing, and everybody's getting their looks. Everybody's getting their looks. When Bron gets back, what I don't want to see is long 3-point shots by him when nobody touches the rock. That's a recipe for losing with this unit. It was a recipe for losing with the last unit. It was a recipe for losing with the year before that. And it was it was the same thing every year. He needs to let guys carry the load, and everybody needs to be scoring. If we got 7 players in double figures, that's how we win. Tonight it was 5. It needs to be just like that with Bron when he gets back. He needs to be just like that. And I want to see him get his assists up with this unit, because there's way more weapons on this team than any other team he's ever had, in my opinion. So that's what it's about, man. This is a good squad. This is a defensive squad, shooting ability, interior oriented. This is a championship level team as far as I can tell, because of how they are constructed to attack teams. The same way great teams are constructed to attack teams. Inside out, with the ability to shoot comfortably, and defensive minded throughout. That's how you do it. Teams that concern me are the teams with the super duper big dudes. A team like the Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid. I don't want to see them because I don't think we have a natural center on this team right now. I think we're playing guys out of position. I think we're using long, wingy defensive players to play the center position, and we're succeeding. But I don't know that that works against a behemoth center like that. Now, Jokic's a little different because I don't look at him as somebody who's going to really impose the same way. He's going to look to pick people apart. He's going to play away from the perimeter a little more. He's not going to be looking to score as much. It's about everybody else around him and him making things happen for them. But with Joel, he can score 80 points by himself. He's going to look to score every time. And so that's what it really comes down to. I would much rather not run into them at any point in time at all, just in general, because they have a type of player like that. Giannis, same thing. Those are the type of teams I think the Lakers would rather not run into. Cleveland, with them 2 lengthy stilts that they have. That's the type of thing. It's like matchups that just don't work for the Lakers in my mind, because they have these players that can kind of give us trouble with Vanderbilt and AD. It takes away that strength and makes us focus on the shooters, whether or not they're going to hit shots. So, but if we can have an imposing length advantage on most of these teams, particularly when they try to drive in the paint and have to run the AD and Vando, it's going to be hard for teams that don't have a Joel Embiid. It's going to be hard for them. It's going to be very hard for them because we have the weapons that can match their weapons in a lot of cases, and we got the defenders that are going to disrupt things and keep them from having continuity in their offense. So even if they're pressing like crazy, and even if they have players that are shooting well, we're still going to be doing things to take the ball from them and just bust up plays that otherwise feel smooth. You think everything is going well, and then boom, Vanderbilt has the ball in his hands, you're going the other way. Troy Brown has that same effect. Everything's going well. Next thing you know, the ball's just in his hands, headed the other way. So as long as we can continue to keep those type of players healthy while getting the continuity necessary from our shooters, Dennis Schroeder playing this healthy and complementing our guards this way, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell playing this well off one another, dangerous basketball club. Dangerous basketball club. It must be said that Vanderbilt got off to a very hot start. I think he was 4 for 4 from the field, 2 for 2. Didn't miss a free throw. I don't think he missed a shot probably until the fourth quarter. So it must be said how well he started off the game shooting. It was why we were able to withstand that very slow start that we had. So, yeah, man, total team effort, total team win. Intensity brought to the table. It felt like a playoff matchup. Both teams fought hard, played for their playoff lives. The better team won tonight, and it happened to be us. So that's what it was, man. A whole lot of respect to everybody in Toronto. But like I said in the pregame video, if it was going to be between us and them, it was definitely going to be them. It just is what it is, man. We better than that, and we got to keep pushing forward. We got the New York Knicks coming in 6 o'clock p.m. on Sunday. I do not expect that to be an easy game, but I do expect we've caught yet another supreme break because Jalen Brunson got something going on with his foot and may not be available for that matchup. That is supreme for us because that player is playing like crazy right now. And, yeah, we would much rather not have to run into a healthy Jalen Brunson. With the Knicks also very much a strong playoff team. So it doesn't get much easier from here. But then again, I got to preface that by saying this is the softer aspect of the schedule coming up over the next several games. It does get easier from here in theory. But since we must win all these games, we better not think of that in that way. We better continue to play these teams as if they're all Phoenix with KD on the floor. Because at the end of the day, we're fighting for our positioning. And while we're in a position of power right now, the reality is it's still only maybe 2 or 3 games separating us from the bottom. So we need to respect that and keep winning. And so that's it, man. Everybody did what they were supposed to do this week. Everything worked out for the Lakers. We are exactly where we want to be. In fact, we're in a better position than we thought we'd be. 33-34. 1 game under 500 for the first time probably since the beginning of the season. Probably since the very beginning of the season, since we've sucked so bad all year. But we're not that now. And we owe a lot of that credit to our GM, who we've been bashing all season long, but made fantastic moves to get us guys that we now believe in. And it's a new guy every night. It's a new guy every night, you know? And that's what we love. Tonight was a D-Lo game, fresh off injury, just sheer talent, man. That's the word that comes to mind. Absolute and utter talent. And I'm happy he's here, man. So that's what I got to say. Congratulations, LA. More work to do. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.